Hello, my name is Joe Alter, and I want to walk you through my case, which was before Judge Reyes last year in July, and is now before the United States Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C. I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video uh, and try to get your head around what it is that I'm trying to do. Um, January 6th, 2021, an insurrection occurred at the Capitol. How do I know this? Well, 6 people were convicted by juries of their peers of seditious conspiracy. The definition of seditious conspiracy, 18 U.S.C. 2384, is seditious U.S. federal crime involving 2 or more people who conspire to overthrow, destroy, or oppose by force the United States government or to hinder the execution of its laws. Now, this isn't something that the criminal courts take lightly. These people were sentenced to many years in prison uh, because the facts of the cases were were violent, terrible facts, and it doesn't even matter that Donald Trump is not one of them. What matters is that because of these cases, an insurrection has occurred, and that is a legal fact. Now, if you look at the text of 14th Amendment, Section 3, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, known as the Disqualification Clause, prohibits anyone from holding state or federal office who previously took an oath to support the Constitution. That's what a president does when he says, I will support and defend the Constitution, but later engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or gave aid or comfort to its enemies. Its enemies being people who commit insurrection. The people that were convicted of seditious conspiracy said under oath that they did it for Donald Trump. The people that were convicted of seditious conspiracy were pardoned on January 20th, 2025, by Donald Trump. He didn't say that they were innocent. He didn't say that, boy, they really shouldn't have done that. It was a real shame in the country, but they've done their time, so I'm letting them go. No, he simply released them all. There's no world in which aid or comfort is not definitionally a pardon without merit. Uh, it was a stain on this country that Donald Trump never went to jail in January 2021. It's a stain on this country that Donald Trump wasn't convicted of impeachment because Mitch McConnell said, well, we can't decide right now, we're going on our recess, and we'll decide when we come back. And then came back and said, oh, it's too late now because Donald Trump is no longer going to be the president of the United States. So, the question is moot, but he'll pay in court. That has not happened. The case that I bring as an ordinary citizen. In the First Amendment of the United States, citizens have a right of petition. That petition isn't just going around collecting signatures, and maybe if you get enough signatures, you can tell Congress about it, or maybe the president will take it up in his priorities. Petition is court. It's under Article 3. Article 3 court has to hear a, a claim from anybody who has a case or controversy with the government. In Marbury versus Madison, the court emphatically states that the court cannot sidestep the issue. If people's rights have been violated, the court has to hear the claim by those who've been affected. And in Article 3, all that's required is a case or a controversy. And here we have a controversy because to this day Donald Trump says, I didn't commit insurrection. And, I have my freedom of speech. That is his opinion. And it is not mine. That is a controversy. I have a right to call him on it. Particularly since we have a DOJ that will not, that is under his control, where he'll fire he's fired all the people that investigated him. He's obstructed in every way possible any processing of what happened on that day. Somebody has to be able to bring a case. Maybe, it should be one of the guards that was brutalized. It should be maybe someone that was there that was injured as a result of his actions. But the problem is, with our courts and the way standing, which gives you the right under Article 3 to bring a case, the way standing is parsed is by default treated as a tort. And what a tort is somebody who's been injured or some grievous harm's been done to them. And it's their chance to collect compensation for that damage. And that settles the claim in whole. However, this is a damage that was done to the entire country. Every single one of us that saw what happened, that knows what happened, that needs some justice here, has a right to petition the court. I am bringing that case as an individual citizen. Now, some of the things that stand in the way of your rights to petition in court could be, for example, if a congressman brings a case to court, well, that will get dismissed as a political question because the congressman comes there as a political player, as a political part of the three branches of government. He comes from the first branch. And the courts are in the second branch, and the executive is in the third branch. So, case can be shot down that way. But the thing is that Article 3 is the court's right to decide whether the Constitution has been broken. That is not the president's right in Article 2. That is not Congress's right in Article 1. They can impeach, but they can't decide whether he's broken the law. And if you'll remember, that was a major sticking point in the impeachment because Mitch McConnell says, well, who's to say, what's an insurrection? Well, the courts are to say. It's literally their job to say, and they cannot sidestep it when the question is in front of them. And the question has been in front of them in these 6 criminal cases that he pardoned. And when he pardoned, he did not absolve them of guilt. It is not within his power to absolve them of guilt. They're guilty, and they tried to commit armed insurrection on Congress. One of the most serious moments in our history. And 5 years later, our courts have not addressed the merits. Anderson, in their Colorado state case, brought the question before the state court, not the federal court, the state court, And it went all the way up to the state Supreme Court, and the state Supreme Court, by golly, found yes, an insurrection has occurred. This was even before people criminally went to jail for the seditious conspiracy. They found that Donald Trump's actions incited that insurrection, and Donald Trump sued them and went directly to the Supreme Court and said, no, 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 states can't do that. The state wants to take me off the ballot. Where in the Constitution does it say they can take me off the ballot? Well, 14 Section 3 certainly implies it, but it doesn't specifically say it could take him off the ballot. So the Supreme Court found that in order to take him off the ballot, Congress would have to pass a law, and left it at that. But the thing is, what it does say in the 14th Amendment is that no one shall hold an office having previously taken an oath and then violated that oath by giving aid to insurrection. And Donald Trump did precisely that. Whether he incited it is not even the point anymore, because he's pardoned them. And that corrupt use of the pardon power in a matter that he was so intricately intertwined with is a violation of 14 Section 3. And he must be held accountable. Now, I can't prosecute him for a crime because I am not the DOJ. Only the DOJ can prosecute him for a crime. But you know what? They had 4 years and they didn't do it. So here we are. Somebody has to put the case in front of a judge. And that's all I've done. I'm not asking for damages. I'm not asking for my payout. I'm not even asking for the courts to send the police and cuff him and send him off to jail. I'm not even asking for punishment. All I am asking the courts to do is, by declaratory judgment, the Declaratory Judgment Act, do their job as a judge, and a judge that an insurrection has occurred, a judge that Donald Trump gave aid and comfort to the insurrectionists. None of these are disputable facts. They are all legal facts that have been decided by judges. And all it takes is for one of our district court judges to have the courage to say, yes, an insurrection has occurred in the legal definition. And Donald Trump pardoned those people, and he sang to them in jail, and has even fired everybody that's investigated it, has even posted on the White House website upon taking office again that he acted promptly to pardon them. They should never have gone to jail. It was a great injustice. He didn't say that when he pardoned him. He doesn't have the legal right to make that determination. But we're stuck with him. Now, 14 Section 3 says it could remove him. A judge could remove him. Even the Anderson case found that the courts have authority over that. The Anderson case is a little deceptive about how it's worded. It says Section 5 vests in Congress. Of course, because Section 5 is about things that Section 3 doesn't specifically already say. And Section 3 already says he shall not serve in office. And if he's sitting in office, shall not is done. Now, if the courts wanted to do that, they could do that. But I'm not even asking that. I'm just asking the court to call it what it is. Because then Congress doesn't have to wonder the next time they impeach him if he's guilty. He's guilty. He's guilty. And a court can say that and should say that. Today's No King's Day. I was out there marching. I hope you were too. Millions of people all over the world marched today. He should have never been permitted to regain office. He his every his every his every his every act since he's regained office has have been violations of Constitution. And the mere fact that he even sits in office with these facts is a violation of the Constitution. It is a shame that our courts can't take the action we all know they need to take. It's a shame on us. It's a shame on them. It's a lack of courage. Judges are sworn into office, and they even sign a document when they're sworn into office that they will not just support the Constitution, but defend the Constitution. It's a shame.